Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. And Shalom to all the sincere believers. 1 second. Slack. Now this lesson is going to be based on a motorway that collapsed as storms batter Spain and Portugal. So out there, they are really going through it, The judgments of the Lord are hitting them heavy. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. It says thousands forced to evacuate as Portugal's prime minister warns country is at the limit of its capacity to contain floods. This is a series of storms which have been battering Spain and Portugal in recent weeks show little sign of letting up, with the weather already having caused fatalities, school closures, infrastructure damage, and disruption in transport. Storm Nils has put areas of both countries on alert due to high winds and flooding. On Wednesday, a section of Portugal's main motorway near the city of Coimbra collapsed following torrential rainfall when a pillar holding it up gave way after a nearby levee containing the Mondego River burst. Coimbra, a picturesque university town, is located approximately midway between the capital Lisbon in the south and Porto in the north, and the damaged A1 motorway connects the two cities. Police had closed the road beforehand and nobody was hurt, although that section of the motorway is expected to be out of use for several weeks. Last Saturday, part of Coimbra's medieval city wall, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, had crumbled due to the weather. Around 3,000 people have been evacuated from the area and are sleeping in shelters. Portugal's main hostelry association appealed for local hotels and restaurants to lend outdoor heaters to keep evacuees warm. Coimbra is going through an extremely difficult time. The rising waters are putting large areas of the city at risk of flooding, the association said. At least 15 people have died in the storms, including indirect victims, since they started lashing Portugal in late January. Authorities are also concerned about rising water in the Tagus River, which runs northward from Lisbon. Speaking on Thursday, Manuel Jorge Valamatos, head of the Civil Protection Emergency Agency in the town of Santarém, which is near the Tagus, said the next 48 hours are going to be very difficult and require maximum attention because the rain is going to continue. The crisis has already had a political impact, with the Interior Minister Maria Lucia Amaral resigning over the government's response to Storm Kristen 2 weeks ago. That weather phenomenon ripped the roofs off hundreds of homes and left tens of thousands without power. And left tens of thousands without power in central areas of Portugal. Prime Minister Luis Montenegro said earlier this week that the country was at the limit of our capacity to contain these waters. In Spain, schools and universities were closed and rail travel was disrupted on Thursday across the northeastern Catalonia region due to high winds. At least 5 people were hospitalized with serious injuries throughout the day, including a workman who was hurt when the roof of a warehouse fell on him. Ahead of the arrival of Storm Nils, the head of the Catalan weather agency, Saracoa, had warned that the region could expect the worst episode of wind of the last 15 to 20 years. Prior to that storm's arrival, the southern region of Andalusia had borne the brunt of the recent extreme weather. Earlier this week, 11,000 people were evacuated from their homes as floodwater poured along streets of towns, causing damage to homes and public buildings. The body of a woman was recovered from the Tervilla River late last week. Locals in the small town of Utar Tajar, near the city of Granada, said the recent rainfall had exceeded that of a particularly bad flood in 1963. On Monday, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, while visiting the town, said that 7 storms had hit the country so far this year. He also underlined a completely new climatic reality which often supersedes scientific forecasts and which should prompt all levels of government to work to design common public policies. The National Weather Agency has put most of Spain on alert for Friday and Saturday due to expected high winds. Yeah, so the Lord is just pouring out wrath upon them out there. Isaiah 29:6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. And Spain and Portugal are just getting hit relentlessly with these storms. It's just one after another after another. Those people out there really can't catch a break. They can't catch their footing. Because right after one storm finishes, but before people even have a chance to start recovering, another storm rolls in, just as bad, if not worse, than the first one. Isaiah 28:2. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which has a tempest of hail, and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing shall cast down to the earth with the hand. And the Lord is sending that destruction. The winds tearing roofs off of homes and buildings, causing power outages, all the flooding going on, all the people that have died. It's no joke, man. The Lord is letting you know that we are in the last days and that his wrath is continuously going to be poured out upon the earth. Psalms 83:14. As the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. Verse 15. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. And this is clearly what the Lord is doing out there in Spain and Portugal. He's sending those high winds. He's sending that torrential rain. He's flooding the streets. He's causing power outages. He's killing people, bringing forth just all types of judgment. And the men of the Lord, starting of course with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, for decades have been warning people that these times were going to come. But nobody wanted to listen. And now they're experiencing it firsthand. Salakia. Psalm 79:6. Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen that have not known thee, and upon the kingdoms that have not called upon thy name. And that is exactly what the Lord is doing. Pouring out his wrath currently upon Spain and Portugal with his storms and tempests. Pouring out his wrath upon those heathens out there. And there's more than likely some Jakes scattered amongst those heathens as well. But the 2/3 that are out there, and all those wicked heathens, they deserve the wrath of the Lord to be poured out upon them because they're wicked. And now they're all reaping what they have sown. Like it says in Psalm 7:11. Yahweh judgeth the righteous, and Yahweh is angry with the wicked every day. And that's why you can't go a day without seeing the judgment of the Lord having taken place through videos, through articles. The Lord is always going to bring his judgments to light. Psalms 9:16, the Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands, Higgaion Selah. And that's right. These storms and tempests that are currently wreaking havoc across Spain and Portugal, this is the judgment of the Lord. These are the storms and tempests of the Lord. This is how he is visiting those people out there. That's how he chose to visit those wicked kingdoms. And best believe, those judgments are going to get even worse. The storms are going to get more powerful, more intense, more destructive, more deadly. Slovakia. And not just out there in Spain and Portugal, but here in America, in Canada, well, here in the United States, and in Canada, and in other parts of the world as well. Because we're living in the last days, and the wrath of the Lord is just going to intensify until his will is fulfilled and the kingdom of heaven gets established. These last days are not going to be peaceful. They're not going to be fun. They're going to be chaotic and violent and destructive and deadly and intense and scary. And a lot more of these wicked people, I should say, are going to meet their maker. The Lord is going to use these judgments to put a lot of people to death because that's what they deserve. And it's going to be more wicked men, more wicked women, and more wicked children. Because like it says in Romans 2:11, there is no respect of persons with Yahweh. So the Lord doesn't care who you are or who you think you are. If he deems you wicked and he decides that he wants to remove you off this earth, put you back in the spirit world, then that's exactly how it's going to play out. There's not a person on this earth that can save you. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakudash, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, for putting his spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. And shalom to all the sincere believers. I hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah. Until next time, shalom.